Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
2 certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only 2 best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go. I'm calling this episode 2 announcements, 1 cool, 1 crazy. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Yeah.
I've been feeling a little crazy ever since we made one of those decisions. So,
okay. So, we're not doing a blog because, we've been trying to find a way to tell you about the crazy thing for a while, but it just was like not the kind of thing I felt like you could just talk about for like 2 minutes before a blog. So I felt like it necessitated its own conversation. But then also we're doing a cool thing. So I figured let's just
That's related to you. And we also wanted to tell you about that in more depth.
An update episode.
I feel like every once in a while you guys just need to know what's going on. So we're just going to spend a whole episode updating you on things.
Hopefully it won't take that long, but no promises. Okay. Let's start with the cool thing.
This is the cool thing that relates to you, the audience. So we'll start with that since it matters to you.
Okay. So December 10th through December 17th, we are going to be doing a holiday promotion on the Passion Profile short course. I'll get into like what the short course is if you're new, but we're going to be doing $50 off during that week, which is a good chunk of it because the whole course is like over $200. So you get it for like $199 or something.
Yep. It's $249 usually.
Okay. So you get $50 off. Also, you can still pay in 1 or 2 payments. Yep. So like this is good for people who are just like starting out and don't have the...
You want to just dip your toe into the world of coaching or Clarity on Fire.
Yeah. And so we're doing $50 off. Also, we're going to do, for anyone who signs up in that window, we're going to do a workshop, a live workshop where we'll be answering questions and talking about like goal setting and resolutions and how they suck, but how to actually make, I kind of want to call it an anti-resolution workshop. And then also any like questions and career direction stuff you want to talk about in general. We will have a live workshop.
That'll be in January so that you have a little bit of time to work through the course.
Yeah.
If you would like to, and then you might have questions that come up, and that would be a great chance for you to be able to ask us live.
We don't know when it will be yet because we don't need to set the time and date of that ahead of time.
But there will be a recording of it.
Yeah.
So.
And we will figure out once the promotion is over, we'll let you know when the workshop is going to be. But it won't be till January. Probably like the 2nd or 3rd week of January is what I'm assuming. Yeah. Let's get the new year over with and let's get back to work. And then let's do this workshop.
Yes. And then 3rd,
yeah,
we are going to be, we've already teased this. We've already told people about this. But in case you don't know, we are going to be increasing our coaching rates in the new year.
Yes.
It's been a long time. And I'd say we're pretty damn good coaches at this point.
I mean, a lot better than what we're charging because people who haven't been in it as long are charging more. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not cool.
But if you sign up for the short course in this promotional window between December 10th and 17th, you will be grandfathered in to the current coaching rates if you decide that you'd like to do some coaching after you complete the course. That'll be a particular window of time that'll be valid. We'll let you know that if you sign up for the course. But yeah, you'll get a chance to keep these current rates for a little longer.
And by the way, what Kristen has neglected to mention is that, we don't just take one-on-one coaching clients on at any point in time anymore.
That's
if you'll
correct.
Recall. We're not doing it again until March. So what we're saying is that not only will you get $50 off, not only will you get to do a live workshop with us, not only will you be grandfathered into the current rates, but that you can actually start working with us one-on-one during an off season if you want to, like before we actually work with other people.
Whereas for everyone else, it's just a wait list period.
You just have to get on a wait list. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like you should consider it if you haven't done it yet. So let's talk for a second, because I feel like I take for granted that people know about passion profiles. Obviously, if you've come here, I'm assuming you've gone and you've taken the passion profile quiz. If not, please stop what you're doing and go to clarityonfire.com and spend like 2 minutes, 11 questions, taking the quiz and reading your result.
It would be very surprising to me if you ever went to our website and didn't take the quiz, because it's all over the homepage. And also, who doesn't love a quiz? A free quiz. So most people see that.
And take those dumb BuzzFeed quizzes about which type of French toast you are or whatever.
Harry Potter character or whatever. So,
I thought you said Cherry Potter. I was like, who the hell is Cherry Potter?
I feel like that would be some kids' version of like where the fruit is the characters.
That is hilarious, because your mind went one way and mine went the other. Mine is like this. That's the porn version.
Oh, yeah. True. Yeah.
So that is exactly how both of our minds work.
That tells you something about the inner workings of
That's exactly how both of us work. Yep. Uh-huh. Where are we going with that? We were talking about the passion profile
You should
quiz.
take the quiz on our website. And the thing that the passion profile quiz is measuring is how you are meant to be working, not what you're meant to be doing, not what you're passionate about. That is so unique to every specific person. We could not make a quiz that could accurately represent that. And if we did, you shouldn't be asking people to tell you what you're passionate about. That's not the point of this. But what is really helpful is to figure out generally how you should be working in terms of how you want to combine your biggest values around time, money, and passion. And that will help you pretty simply and quickly sort through potential ideas about what you might want to be doing career-wise based on what's going to align with you the best.
Let's put it another way. Let's say you're one of our many friends who has spent the past 5 years talking about how much this is still relevant and helping. It's so funny. Like,
yep.
We have friends like talk to us all the time about, oh my God, I'm having tribe member problems today. I'm having side hustler problems today. One of our really good friends, for example, quit her job, started her own business. She became a coach and was kind of miserable and was like, did I do the wrong thing? Did I just massively F up my life in quitting my job and starting a business? I feel lonely. I feel unmotivated. And I was like, no, you are a tribe member and you are trying to work like a fire starter and it is not working for you. You are not, your first and foremost like values are not necessarily freedom and independence. Your values are more around community and connection. And it took her a while, but she got to a point where she actually found a business partner and they became really great friends. And now they co-work together every day. And they kind of merged their businesses and started their own business. And it's like night and day, because guess what? She's working in a way that aligns with her. It wasn't the coaching business that was the problem. It was the way she was doing it. It was how was the problem. And this is the thing, guys. Everyone assumes that the what is the problem. They think what I'm doing is broken, or worse, I must be broken because nothing I'm doing is working. And very often, I have no scientific data about this, but I'm going to say 80% of the time, you can at least start with assuming it's not what that's broken. It's the how that's off. Sometimes the what's off too, but you got to kind of figure out whether the how is off before you can move on to figure out if the what is off.
Yeah. And no matter where you are right now, career-wise, learning about your passion profile will be extremely helpful. So whether you are really ready for something new and you just don't know how to figure out what that is, figuring out how you want to work and then fitting the what into that structure is going to make things so much simpler. If you're like, I want to be an entrepreneur, great. You can cut out all of the other possibilities where you're working for someone else.
That's a lot.
Let's not even think about those because they're not aligned with what you want. Or if you're in a job or in a career path and you're like, okay, I don't know if this is totally wrong, but something feels a little off. If you can start by saying, is this aligned with the values that are part of my passion profile? Like the example Rachel just gave, I have my own business, but I am missing community and collaboration, and that's really important to me. Let's start and see if we can restructure how you're working. And that might be all you need. You might be fine at that point.
Mm-hmm. I have another client, as long as we're sharing stories, as long as I'm sharing stories. I have another client who I'm working with right now who really recently had a very kind of come to Jesus moment about her passion profile, where she was like, oh, this is why I have hated every teaching job I've ever had, is because I have been expecting myself to be a tribe member like almost everyone else I work with. And I am a thriver. And all I want is to do this job like a thriver. I want to clock in and clock out. I don't want to go to meetings and like get excited about like teaching initiatives that the other teachers are doing in their spare time, as if teachers ever even have spare time.
I know.
She's like, I want to find a way to be, if I'm going to stay in this, then I need to find a way to do it in a way that is going to honor my need for work-life balance. That's what a thriver wants more than anything, is balance, and to be able to pursue their passion outside of work. And so the guilt that she felt about not being like those other teachers was really, really heavy and weighing her down. And the whole thing Kristen and I return to over and over and over again is you first have to give yourself permission to be who you are and to work in a way that's wired according to how you are wired. And so if you are trying really hard to show up in a way that's opposite of how you're wired, you're going to be tired. You're going to be so drained. You're going to be confused. You're going to be cratchety, fratchety. I like every one of those words. You'll probably be all of those.
Probably
things.
all of them. Definitely grumpy. So obviously, figuring out your passion profile, we've already given you multiple examples of our own friends who are still talking about this
clients
years later. Yeah, /clients /ourselves.
Yeah, I could get into that too, but I won't.
That this has made a huge difference in their level of fulfillment in their careers. And if you are feeling like something is off and you don't really know what it is and you don't know where to start, this is where you start. I'm telling you, this is where you start. This is the easiest, simplest, clearest way for you to start shifting your current career situation.
Here's what, if you're listening to this episode, I don't think you're one of these people, but this happens every once in a while where someone will sign up for the course and then they'll ask for a refund because they didn't understand or maybe read thoroughly enough about what it was before they got into it. We are not going to give you a list of all the jobs that are good for thrivers because that is so antithetical to the point. The point is that once you learn what your value system is and how you're wired as a thriver or fire starter or tribe member or side hustler, then it's up to you to decide, can I do that in a way that honors my side hustlerness or my thriverness or whatever? Or is that a no, and I'm going to have to go look at other options? It's not our job, nor should you expect Kristen and I to be the end-all be-all of encyclopedic information about every job that's possible in the universe.
No,
if I could do that, I would be a billionaire.
But I also feel like you would box a lot of people in.
Right. Who am I to say what's possible?
You know those quizzes that you took in college or high school or whatever, where you would take the quiz and it would say, you should be a doctor or you should be a teacher. It's like, okay, like how many choices were on there, first of all? And now
there's probably like 20 choices.
You're viewing yourself through this lens when you could be something completely different, or you could be a teacher, but in a totally different way. Like I also have a teacher client right now who's actually very much a fire starter. So she loves teaching.
Right.
And so she had to redefine in her mind the fact that teaching can be done outside of the traditional educational place where she can do the teaching and she can come up with the content in an autonomous way. That changed the whole game.
Right. And who are we to know what's possible? We are teeny little infinite specks compared to the universe. So let's let the universe decide what's possible.
And I also don't
We're just going to help you be able to discern for yourself what's an excellent fit and next step for you.
Correct. I don't want to box you in and say fire starters are always entrepreneurs or no one else can be an entrepreneur, which is what some people would want us to put things into clear, defined boxes
that
like that.
Makes it easy and you don't have to think.
But I've known very successful entrepreneurs of every type. So you have to know how to bring your passion profile to whatever it is that you're doing.
Mm-hmm. So if you want, this is just an episode. I mean, we're just telling you we're doing this. There's nothing to do yet. Like, this isn't happening until December 10th.
It's not December 10th
yet. But if you want more passion profile related content between now and then, I will link to some episodes in the show notes. One is from a year ago when we were actually doing a promotion last December. It's a breakdown of the 4 passion profiles. It's a side chat. I believe Kristen will not. Her mind is going to be blown right now. It's episode number 75.
Oh my gosh.
I know. That's the kind of... I do have close to an encyclopedic memory about things.
That is insane that you know that.
I can't tell you all the other numbers. I just don't know. I just remember that
happen
one.
to remember that
well,
one
there's
randomly.
a couple others I remember, but that's just one of maybe
I don't
five
know a
I remember.
single one.
No, well, I would have bet money on you not knowing any of them or the dates or anything.
No.
So, yeah, it's episode number 75 from last December. It's called Side Chat, the 4 Passion Profiles. Also, we did one last May, also while we were doing a passion profile promotion or a short course promotion about, we sorted Harry Potter characters according to passion profile.
Harry Potter, not Cherry Potter.
Harry Potter, not the gender bent porn equivalent, Cherry Potter. Oh man, I've been thinking about that one for a while. Oh, gross. Okay. So if you want that, and if there's any other passion profile related content, I will also link to it. Those are just the 2 that are like really popping in my mind. Oh God.
No, stop.
No, I didn't mean it. It's a Freudian slip.
Oh no.
Okay, well, on that note, let's transition into the crazy.
Yes.
Actually, I want to start by just saying this, and then we're going to have to explain ourselves because it's insane.
Yep.
I said I would never do this again. In my life, I committed to never, ever doing another job, J-O-B, ever again. And I have somehow found myself employed by someone not myself. And it is it is blowing my mind. If you'd asked me 5 months ago if someone would have employed me, I would have said, hell no. Well,
yeah. So
I'm wrong.
Here we are. We fell into jobs.
How did we do this? Because you're like, have you been conning us the whole time? I thought you had a semi-successful business. You would be correct.
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
I do. It's not dead yet.
We have been supporting ourselves on this business
Full time
for like 5 years.
Almost 6 years.
Almost 6 years.
Yeah.
So why do we get jobs? I don't know. I'm questioning that every day too.
Yeah, I'm about to die. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Well, because I was already working, like I have a full client load right now. And then I also just was like, I guess I'll add 20 more hours of work into my week. It's fine.
Now, keep in mind, coaching is our full-time job, but we don't do it for 40 hours a week.
No, we don't. It's probably closer to 20 or 30. But like, it just means we have a normal person's work week now, 40 to 50 hours of a full-time job. And you want to know what? I don't know how any of you do it. How are you doing it?
Yeah.
I don't even have a commute.
There's no commuting in this one.
And I've been really overwhelmed. I've given myself stress insomnia. Because,
well, let's tell them what the job is.
Yeah. So, they're like, what the heck are you doing? You crazy
we wouldn't
people.
have just taken any old job. And
This
it's also
is quite literally the only job I would have taken.
Literally the only one. So some of you might remember that a month or 2 ago.
It was October 2nd. It was a Wednesday.
Of course. This weird encyclopedia memory. Okay. So on October 2nd, we did a webinar with the coach training school that we graduated from.
IPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching.
Yeah, they wanted us to come on as graduates of the program to share our story, share our experience, share about the business that we've created, and answer some questions live. So they were doing it. They had, I think, a Facebook Live where they had people answering or asking us questions. And so we got to talk to and meet with the admissions team a bit. We already knew some people who worked at IPEC because we've been
affiliated for 8 years
exactly.
now. Almost.
But we were having some conversations with them in preparation for that webinar. And I don't know, one thing led to another. And now we're helping revamp some of their admissions processes.
Yeah. You can find us in the admissions department of IPEC now.
What?
I did not think that was going to happen. But okay, so here's the thing. I think it's oddly fun because
I know I'm hesitantly saying that I'm enjoying it, even though I'm really busy.
I'm busier than I've maybe
and you know
been.
how much we hate that word, you guys. We don't use that lightly.
No, it's not a brag.
It's not a brag. It's just like my schedule right now is a Jenga puzzle where if I move one piece,
everything
the whole
will fall apart.
Come crumbling
and
down.
The whole thing is my mental health. But I don't think it'll always be this bad because I won't always have like literally booked up coaching weeks with no breaks.
And starting a new job, you have to just use more brain power.
You do.
So there's a learning curve.
There's no automation at first because you have to learn everything. Exactly. Now that we've been doing it for almost a month, I guess.
Almost.
A lot of it's dropped down into a place of just automated stuff. But the bulk of what we're doing is we're just kind of serving as our capacity as grads and people who've been there, done that. I think that what our boss, I have a boss, but he's the
fantastic.
Best guy to work for. And he's the opposite of a micromanager. Like, I haven't talked to him in like a week and I prefer that.
And yet he's also like super supportive and an idea generator. It's the perfect balance.
Right. He's great. But I think what he was very interested in was people who could very genuinely and credibly say, I've been there, I've done that, to people who are prospectively looking into coach training, not necessarily to sell them on the program, but to just truly answer their questions and help them figure out what's right for them. And Kristen and I have been doing that for years.
People approach us all the time. They'll email us.
Now we're just getting paid for it.
Or current clients will sometimes start getting curious about this. And so we have conversations about becoming a coach, about starting your own coaching business, and about going to IPEC all the time. And we did that for that webinar. So now we're just doing it and getting paid to have those conversations on a more regular basis, which I kind of love, because I love being able to help people who are curious about coaching figure out, is this right? And how do I actually do this? Because it's really overwhelming. And I remember how overwhelming it was for me. So I like to be able to be almost like a mentor in that way. But
also just like my fire starter is going kind of like, my fire starter is happy at this job because innovation is welcome. And so I just like the idea of modernizing the whole idea of coach training and bringing more millennials into the fold, because a lot of coach training programs are appealing to like, you know, a certain corporate-y or a little bit older set, which is fine.
Well, it's often a second or even third career for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so once they have decided, okay, I've had a full career in this area, but I want something different now, coaching is one of those things that is appealing to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a growing group of millennials who are interested in that. And IPEC wants to appeal to them too.
And Gen Z too. Don't forget about Kayla, who was just on the podcast.
That's true.
A few weeks ago. And she's in college and she's going to IPEC, which is awesome.
Exactly. So yeah, it helps to have I guess we're still younger.
Yeah. I mean, not as young as her.
Sure.
We're a decade older than that. But no, millennials and Gen Z, I want more people to be attracted to the idea of coaching. I wish everyone could get trained as a coach. I do, because
I do too. It's just a communication skill. It's a way of relating to people, asking really good questions, becoming a better listener, intuiting what someone is thinking or feeling. It improves all of your communication with everyone in your life, whether they're clients or not.
Though I would say it's even deeper than communication skills. I've had some of these conversations with prospective students, and what I find myself saying a lot is, and it's funny, is I take this for granted, but this was mind-blowing to someone just a few hours ago that I was talking to. I was like, it's really not so much about the skills you get out of it, it's about who you become. Because the emphasis first and foremost, at least in this program, is about transforming as a person. And then because you've transformed as a person, and yes, you're learning skills and how to ask questions and how to read between what people aren't saying and how to get to the core of what's really blocking them. Yes, of course, you're learning skills and tools to get to that point. But because the focus is first on your transformation and your evolution and your perspective and you taking ownership of your own baggage and all of that, then you can't help but have better relationships with other people. And it forces you to walk the talk. Like, you don't get to go out into the world and try to help people clear their deep blocks and really lead better lives if you're not able to do that yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
It's integrity.
It's so true. And you need to go through the process that you will then be taking your clients through.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's all theoretical. And we're not in the business of doing theoretical. We're in the business of being like, all right, I have done my own work and I'm going to help you do your work because I know what it takes now. So IPEG is a really cool program, and hopefully any coach training program that you might be interested in.
It's cooler than its website or its marketing would lead you to believe.
And we're trying to bridge that gap.
We are trying to change that.
So that's a big part of what we're doing too. So my fire starter is happy because I'm having all kind of ideas for this admissions program, and I get to be innovative there. And there's something kind of nice about having a businessman, like being an entrepreneur. You have to be 100% responsible for your money coming in. So it's, you're like, do I test out this new thing? What if it fails? This is my livelihood. So when you have a little bit of a steady paycheck coming in another arena, you can start to get a little bit more creative in your own business too. So my fire starter's getting happy in both arenas. So who knows? We might start seeing some interesting things coming on the Clarity on Fire side of things because we've got more playroom now.
Starting first no, we've got less playroom.
We have less playroom, but we have more innovative playroom.
We have more...
less time.
Less time, more space in a creative sense.
Exactly.
Is what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
One of the things that we'll be changing first and foremost is our rates, like we just said, because now my time is even more valuable. I mean, it's
just more limited now.
It's just more limited. And so I've got to make it more valuable to work with us. And that, honestly, we would have done this whether or not we decided to do this side thing with IPEG because it was time. But now it was like, oh, no, it's not just, it's a need. It's not like a want to raise my rates. It's I have to. So in 2020, they will be going up by $500 at least.
Yep, for each package.
Yeah. So that's a good 20-25% hike, which I'm proud of. I mean, when you get a raise, that's what you should be aiming for.
Yep.
No one's going to give it to me unless I give it to myself. So it's wild. I mean, I'm tired and I'm trying to adjust, but also have grace with myself during this time because no adjustment period is ever easy. And transitions always bring up a lot of grief and chaos and fights. Kristen and I have gotten into it more often because of this.
Sure.
But it's also brought some good things to the surface that we would have had to talk about eventually. But it's maybe fast forwarded that, which maybe was productive.
Sure.
Didn't feel good in the moment, but I think it's good that it happened. So yeah, we have jobs. What?
I'm still confused.
I am very confused by that, but it's nice to have another paycheck. Also, I don't hate that.
Somehow feels right at the same time. It's just,
well, let me just I didn't apply for this job and I didn't give anyone my resume.
That's how I still have a job. Just was meant to be.
Yeah.
It just happened.
I literally didn't give anyone anything and I was still hired. So if that should serve as proof that A, jobs can come out of nowhere, B, you can be the right person and people will want you even if you don't put any effort in.
People can just hire you because of who you are.
Yeah.
And the fact that they want who you are to be a part of their team.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened for us. And it was awesome.
So there you go. If you guys want to explore IPEC more, if you're interested at all in the prospect of coach training, I will link to the site and you can go click around over there. What I would suggest you do if you are really interested in the prospect of actually going through the program or getting coach trained is on their site. I will link to this. They have a place where you can request a session with an admissions coach who's someone who's been at IPEC for many years. They've got a ton of wealth of information and resources about the curriculum and the tuition and all of that stuff. And chatting with one of those people is a really good first step for someone who's serious, not casually interested. I'm talking about kind of serious about could I do this?
Yeah.
In 2020, am I a little bit nervous, tingly, but kind of excited and I've heard them talk about this before and I kind of want to do it. That would be my advice for you is take that next step. Talk to one of those people. So we could get into more, but I think that's it. I mean, that's kind of, that was the news that I had for you.
Cool and crazy.
So let us know what thoughts or comments or questions you might have about any of this. If you have questions about IPEC at all, you can just email us, contact@clarityonfire.com. If this is spurred your stuff you've been thinking about coach training or something. I know plenty of people who are interested in coaching obviously listen to this podcast. So it's not a shock to me when there are people who are exploring coach training and they find themselves here.
Yeah, it makes sense that a certain percentage of people who are intrigued by coaching are going to be oh, the reason I was interested in it is because I want to do it. That's how I got into coaching. I hired a coach first because I was intrigued and then was oh, no, I'm intrigued because I want to be the coach.
I want to do this.
So if that's some of you, that would also be normal.
So, okay. I'll also link to the recording of the webinar we did back in October.
Yeah, we answered a bunch of questions. Yeah. We get more into our journey into coaching. So if you're curious about that, we'd love for you to see that. And we
answered, some big questions like how do people make money and how do you do you have to start a business and just all sorts of questions people usually have at the early stage of looking into it.
Yep.
So we will be back on Happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
We will be back on Friday, Black Friday, because it's 5 Fridays in a month. Whenever that happens, we have a book club. We mentioned earlier, I think we mentioned in our Dear Rachel episode earlier this month, that we would be reading Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb, which is a book written by a therapist about her clients in therapy and also her experience in therapy after she went through a kind of whirlwind breakup situation. And it's really fascinating. And you don't have to have read the book to come back and just hear our takeaways.
We're not going to go through the whole plot and everything.
No.
We're just going to take away some of the things that really stood out to us. So you could, if you've read it, great. You'll be interested to hear our take. And if you haven't read it, we're not really going to spoil anything either.
No, we're just going to pull out some like golden nuggets and just scatter them around. Okay?
All right. We'll see you then.
All right. Bye.